Patricia Gibson.
Mr. Speaker, it's already been said by previous speakers in this debate that pensions are not a benefit, they are a contract, and the government has broken that contract. And if this were done by a private company, they would be sued for mis-selling. When the terms of a contract changes, there must be notification, actual notification, not Westminster politicians talking to each other, and there must be mitigation when someone is disadvantaged. And in this case, the government must take responsibility and correct this. What future for our pension system if citizens cannot trust government promises? When they pay in, they will receive their due amount at an agreed time. And, Mr Chair, do you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of, and it reminds my constituents in North Ayrshire and Arran, this reminds me of when you buy a car from a used car salesman and the car turns out to be dodgy, and you bring it back and the used car salesman looks at the car, scratches his head and says, you know, I'd really like to help you out, but I just can't. We are told that the government will not move on this issue to put in appropriate transitional measures, but the greater cost of not acting is the cost of betraying all the women, many of whom spent a lifetime in low pay, literally picking their pockets and further alienating people from the cosy Westminster establishment. We are told that money for transitional arrangements cannot be found. Well, Mr Chair, I suspect that if companies like Google paid their taxes, the government would find it had more money in the pot. Choices, choices. Politics is nothing if it's not about choices. If the government does not act on this issue, then it has no alternative but to hang its head in shame. The WASPI campaigners are calling for a review into the way changes to the state pension age were implemented under the 1995 and 2011 Pensions Act. What is wrong with that? Other European governments have brought in pension equalisation arrangements without the distress, chaos and rammy created by this government as it tries to pick women's pockets. And why is this? Because other European governments have not made a Horlicks of it. This is both cock-up and incompetence writ large. And I am sick, Mr Chair, I'm sick to the back teeth of hearing government ministers boasting of a new flat-rate pension of £155.65 a week, because apart from the fact that that is utterly irrelevant to this debate, the fact is so many people, when they do reach pension age, will receive much, much less than this because they will not have paid enough national insurance. And it is those in the private sector, the low-paid, those earning less than around £15,000 a year, who will be hit hardest. And these people, Mr Chair, are much more likely to be female than male. What is required is an independent commission to prevent further gender inequalities and ensure we can get a fair universal pension system that looks at the looming injustices coming down the track in the form of the flat-rate pension, which will leave many of those in low pay on lower pensions than they would otherwise have benefited from. So far, the government has not been listening to the WASPI campaigners, they have not been listening to the votes taken in this House, and I urge them to do so. What is required here is fairness and natural justice, and it really is time the government held its head up and faced these women.
Thank you, Deputy.